be, well, attendance here, the duration of the meeting will be no longer than 2 hours. The last meeting, we forgot to record. That was my fault. I just forgot. So we did the whole meeting, we didn't record it. So there is no recording to go back and listen to from last week, but a bunch of us were there. We know what happened. Previous recordings you can find on the channel, and we are now recording this meeting, so that's good. Are there any short announcements outside of the agenda that we have set that anyone really wants to make? No. Okay, cool. And the next meeting will be next Tuesday, April 14th at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Okay, so our first area of discussion is Shankar's template for project proposal. So I'm going to turn it over to Shankar.
Yeah, should I have to share it in present, or how can I do, or think? Okay, let me open. Okay, lots of windows open.
I'm going to do a quick share first, just to show, just for some context.
Okay.
Where is it? This is what we're starting from. It was in, can you guys see this? Process group, scope, purpose, broad adoption potential. So I think, to me, this looks like maybe it happened at either the first or the second conference, the first conference. So this is what Dr. Rao has laid out for moving from a study group to a task force, I believe, kind of showing this is, at least with the Ethernet Standards Committee, I believe this is the process that they used. Although maybe I'm misunderstanding that this has already been adopted or adapted to Beacon World 2026, but that people would come with a proposal that outlines how their project addresses each of these things. And then I'll stop sharing so Shankar can show how he took that and made it more of a template.
Yes, I'm ready to share.
Awesome.
Oops, sorry. Okay, here we go. So just I'll start with the template. Just I was thinking, if it's a proposal, I know we still post comments, that's fine. Like we can post it as a comment, or if it's just one thing. But if we are recognizing as a project, probably I felt a little bit standardization, so we can compare across, or we can equate across, and possibly establish relevance. So, and I want to thank Susan and Benjamin, because they shared that image that was very helpful to get the context. Because Sailesh mentioned in the previous meeting, I was like, he mentioned something, but I don't know what it is. Probably I thought that 7-shift, but this was only, 7-shift was one of the items in this. It was a surprise to me. So thank you, both of you. Like, so here, all I was trying to do was, and I'm really not a fan of any template. Anything that works is fine. But just to start somewhere on the drawing board, I'm using this. So this is like possibly like a document. So I'm asking who is the name, who is the proposer, so that we can reach out to that person for reference later. And we just want to know, is it are they coming from the group, or if it's not applicable, they can just put none. Then if there is a coordinator already in the group, hopefully they are aware about it, or not some randomly coming and not avoid confusion. Then a proposal title, like, so what is the name that they're gonna call? So just to be consistent, and the date, so that at least we know this is effective. This from this date it was proposed, to avoid duplication or a re-emergence of the same proposal. So not several people talking about several things. Then this is where exactly the areas that we'll be answering in what do you call, alignment to the climate healers or vegan world. The scope, purpose, repeatable, and compatibility. And the compatibility is where it actually goes with the core shift, the 7 core shifts of the climate healers. Then the third point is the distinct identity. I'm sorry, I made a typo. I made a distinct identity. My apologies. Technical feasibility and resource feasibility and bio, psycho, social, spiritual accessibility. So first I had a word, probably I came up with this little bit description, but I'm okay if you have to correct that so that it gives a context, somebody who is filling. So this is one medium, like a document. If somebody, I kept it like this so that it's very objective. Like I can literally write a PhD paper on this, going 100 pages. But we know we have a limited people reviewing it to put into study group or put into action or something. So I kept it very objective so that they're giving a brief idea of what they're doing and somebody getting an idea. And the reason is this left columns will help to compare us the upcoming proposals too. This is one way to do it. And if I didn't give this, probably they'll be writing and they'll be creating each will be creating their own structure. And we have to go and dig and identify, are they really answering this? Are they really answering that? So this gives you a structure. So this like a tabular column, X is equal to Y, like that approach. The other way is the sample one I filled here. So you can see how it looks like. So the next code thing, which I mentioned my name as per the Basecamp so that you can easily search me. Not a different name I'm using. If I use Jim here and James there or something like they're taking the guess. And I put the group coordinator or the lead, whoever is helping right now, and the title and the proposal date and what is the scope of this that I'm doing. Then the purpose and what is the broader intent of this. Then the compatibility, I kind of added lining up to the core shifts. Then the another one is the last 2 points, that's all. So the 3, 4, 5 distinct identity. The same one, like this is a template. This is a filled one. And we can also float it as a what do you call, a survey. So this, the another advantage of the survey is all the proposals that everybody is submitting will roll up in the sheet, in a Google sheet or something. So you'll have a good, what do you call, a tabular comparison of this. That will help to easily do a Control F, a search and navigate. If you're doing a consolidation, probably from the managing perspective, it saves space. There is a little, we can also do a little more, somebody can attach a document. If somebody is very descriptive and very, very academic oriented, they can attach, all those options can be enabled here. So, so again, at the proposal stage, I would feel it's keeping to the point, objective, like, or does it qualify to be a proposal or not? If that will make it easier. And so this is the same thing you're seeing here as a survey fillable. And for example, here I was able to do it as a drop-down teams or projects. So there they have to copy and paste. Here they pretty much they are picking like, okay, I'm from New Economy Group. I'm posting it. So then I put the name, all I can type. And so it is like a group details, proposal details, and all the pretty much same. I think I should have made the same mistake here. Distinct. Okay. Distinct. Okay. So, and you submit. So when you submit, it collects, and whoever is managing, they can view. It automatically gets the time snap and the date. So here I didn't ask for the, here I asked for the date. But when somebody submits a survey, automatically the time snap comes or the date snap comes. So we can refer it later. So that's a simple thing.
Shekhar, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
This is really, really beautiful. And it seems to me, after looking at that, it seems to me that we want to add another aim that we would have a small group of people that would review these and then bring them to the full group on a Tuesday for a consent vote. But, you know, have 2 or 3 people that it comes in and this group of 3 reviews it and then brings it to the larger VCI group to vote on accepting this proposal. That at least that's my thinking. And honestly, I think at the moment, A, I think it's beautiful and very well thought out. And B, keeping in mind the sociocracy ideas of good enough for now and safe enough to try. This is beautiful. 3 months from now, we might say, oh, you know what, we need to ask for this or we need to do that. But I mean, other than changing distant to distinct, I don't see a whole lot of other changes that I would want to do right now. What do other people think about this?
I think it's great. I saw Sarah commented, she thinks it's great too. I guess for me, you know, I was kind of going from memory that compatibility is what references the 7 core shifts. So I would just want to confirm with Dr. Rao that we got that right, that second question number 2 is the 7 core shifts. And then, yeah, I think this is great.
Yeah, it looks great. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, so what I'd like to do at this moment is add this when we get, I'm not sure if one of the groups already will be dealing with it, like if we can plug this into one of the aims that we already mentioned, or if we need to add another one. So I'd just like to hold it for the next part of the conversation and then plug it into the place that we think it fits, or add the thing that will take care of this, if that will work for everybody.
Yes. So just to add one comment, like probably if it is that, if this is a survey, probably I think we can go and change the font color or something, like a red means like rejected, or green means accepted, or yellow means concerns, or probably requires another follow-up proposal to that or something. We can do that. That's more from a managing perspective. Or not. I'm also thinking like giving a limited time to review.
Right.
Thing is like, because we all like something automated is much easier than.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Very cool. Very cool. Any other thoughts about this before we move on to the next agenda item?
Yeah, just have one request.
Yep.
This one actually I created for the next code thing because I still need help on the outreach. Like this, I completed this. By completing, I got some clarity. That's the purpose, right?
Right.
So then what I have to do is like I have to go and post the comment, or I have to create like some kind of images or something. That's my next phase. But if it is recognized as a proposal, I can move forward, or at least you can take it as an example. Like my deadline is like, next deadline is like, what do you call it? 27th. 27th is the deadline to submit.
So yeah, what do we do with this actual proposal that we have right here?
Yes.
Right. Gotcha. So today is the 7th. So the 14th would still give you a week and a half, almost 2 weeks before your next deadline. So here's what I suggest. I suggest that we find the place to plug this into, or we create the place to plug it into. And a few of us, you know, like literally 2 or 3 of us say, we'll review this and we'll bring it back next week for a vote.
Yeah, thank you. That's it. Yeah. And this was also one of the items discussed in the New Economy group. So I'm going to share the same, probably I'm going to correct that distinct thing. Then I'm going to share it there. So if they have any comments or anything, I'll bring it to the next meeting, like anything added up or anything.
Yep.
So this is one of the, this was also one of the items that we kept us like, because everybody posting questions there, but can we treat question as a proposal and let the people work on those rather than creating like a bottleneck or something like that? So, if I have any thoughts on this from the New Economy Group, I'll share it next meeting.
All right, cool. All right, well, let's get to the rest of it so that we can take this real life example and use it, because this is, I mean, this couldn't be any more perfect, Shankar, to bring this into this particular meeting, to be able to have a real life example of something to do. So, okay, so what I wanted to do before we got into talking about the VCI vision, mission, and aims and culture was to just review the vision, mission, and some of the aims of Climate Healers, so that we could have a discussion and make sure that we were on the same page. So first, in numerous groups, the idea of what is a vision, what is the mission, and what are aims was one of the questions. So we very clearly but concisely said, you know, the vision is what we're striving toward, what we want to have happen if everything works out the way that we want it to be. So that's the future, the pie in the sky, the thing that we really want to have happen. So for Climate Healers, what we walked into was the vision is that we will create a life-enriching global culture of normalized nonviolence, also known as the 7 core shifts in action. And that the world actually shifts from where we currently are to this place of nonviolence and abundance and respect for all living creatures, and that we live a vegan life, and that our economy is good for everyone, works for everyone. So that's the vision. That's the big vision, the big pie in the sky dream that we have, that we can actually turn the global culture from where we are now, normalized violence, to normalized nonviolence. So the mission is about how we're going to do that. How do we do that? So that's what we want, but how do we get there? So Climate Healers' mission is to heal the Earth's climate and prevent year 0 from ever occurring. That's what the mission is. So we know that things are in a really bad place, and we have some strategies about how we can actually help to heal the Earth and literally each other, and prevent year 0. And we know that year 0 is 2026, when the belief is, and it is a belief because it could be off by a little bit, it was an extrapolation of numbers, but the belief is that 2026 is the year when there will be no more wild vertebrates on the planet. They may still exist in preserves or in zoos, but they would not exist in the wild. And the further belief to that is, if we get to that point, that's probably the tipping point, that the Earth is an ecosystem, and without that big part of the system, that we will have gone too far. So we're setting out to heal the Earth and prevent that from ever happening. And then the third piece of Climate Healers is the aims. The aims are the goals, the specific tasks, what specifically really do you do? So we just listed them kind of in broad generalizations: the Vegan World 2026 Base Camp Project, the conferences, the presentations and talks that Silas does, the documentaries that are shown. So there are more aims within Climate Healers and within Vegan World 2026 than we have listed here. We just gave some examples. So the Climate Healers local groups is another aim, right? So we're hoping to establish Climate Healers groups all over the world who will be showing documentaries and doing, plant milk tastings and doing whatever. But for Climate Healers, the aim is creating Climate Healer local groups. Now, the aims of those groups are showing documentaries, right? So every time you move down a step, things get much more specific. And I completely forgot to mention at the beginning of all of this, that Climate Healers is the big organization. Vegan World 2026 is a project within Climate Healers, and VCI, Vegan Collective Intelligence, is one of the groups within Vegan World 2026. So we just need to know how we, how we fit together, right, with all of this. So some of the aims were the Basecamp project, the conferences, the presentations, the documentaries, the Climate Healers local groups, the collaboration with other vegan organizations, and a whole bunch of other things. So what do we, this group, need to talk about? Part of my interest here is, do we all know about this vision, mission, and these aims? Are we comfortable with this vision and mission? Is this something that, do we have questions? Do we need to talk about the definition of specific words? What does this group, I'm not talking about all of Basecamp, I'm not even talking about all of VCI, I'm talking about the people in this meeting right now. What do we need to talk about so that we are comfortable that this is the vision, mission, and aims of the organization that we stepped into? So we did not help to design this. Well, we might have. Some of you might have been part of that. I was not. I'm pretty sure that Benjamin and Suzanne were not. I actually don't know if Jackie, Shankar, or, okay, so Sarah was part of that.
Well,
Okay.
or at least Sarah's hand is raised. We can see it because we're the meeting hosts, so her hand is raised.
Yes.
It was me, Jackie. I don't know if anybody else on this call was, I think Shankar was there, right? At Vegan World 2026, the first conference?
The second one, the October, last year.
Oh, okay. But can I just ask a question?
Sure.
Is everybody on here a certified climate healer? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I am. Benjamin and Suzanne are. Shankara is. Jackie is. Yeah.
Okay, so where I'm going with this is, I think people would be really, like a lot of pre-vegans and a lot of vegans would get more involved in Vegan World 2026, because I know we're under like, obviously climate healers, just like you said, we're like a branch, we're like branches, a big tree, and then we're down on the branch. Under Vegan World 2026 is VCI. But we're certified climate healers within climate healers. And because we're part of Vegan World 2026, wouldn't we, because I know so many people that obviously don't know about this, but they're really awesome activists, or they're really smart, or whatever, scientists. But I think we could get more people involved if we said, hey, I'm a certified climate healer. Would you like to get would you be interested in getting certified? Because that makes people think, oh, well, they need me. It's important. I mean, obviously it's important, to say the least, but this is, I think we have to have a call to action somehow to get more people into this whole understanding that it's not even our dream and it is our vision, but our mission. And we are going to have a Vegan World 2026. Not everyone will be vegan, but we will, or zero. And I think we need to give people a little bit more kind of sense of urgency, because this is a sense of urgency I just think, because I'm just like Dr. Rao. I mean, I'm okay with all this stuff coming down, because it's got to collapse completely, or it's just kind of a slap on the wrist and then more killing.
Right. So Sarah, this particular group is the group that is attempting to organize the work throughout Vegan World 2026. And what we're trying to come to is an understanding within the people who are showing up to this meeting about what it is that we're doing, so that we can go out and do it. So I literally don't want to sidestep and have that conversation right now until we can get through, do we agree? Do we know and agree with the climate healers' vision, mission, and aims? And then can we consent to a vision, mission, aims, and culture statement for VCI, so that we can get on with the rest of the work, so that we have a basic understanding of what it is, where it is that we're going and what we're doing. I absolutely agree with you that we have to have a call to action. I absolutely agree that we have got to be doing things, but there has to be some basic agreements that I believe we need to say outright, get into this meeting and sign off on to get the subgroups working to help pull all of the work within Vegan World 2026 together. Does that make sense to people? Does it make sense to you too? Okay, cool. So is everybody here good with the vision and mission and aims that we just talked about for Climate Healers?
I have one thing that I would like to figure out before adopting it. I'm for the most part, I'm totally okay with it. Other than the fact that I think Jackie and Jessica are working on something very similar, and I would like to hear if there's anything that has changed since.
I thought that was more about etiquette, or
did I thought that you mentioned at some point working on a vision for the whole thing too.
It morphed as the need kept coming. So I think we met with Sailesh and we gave him the etiquette, we finalized everything. And I think we were willing to see whether or not the established vision, mission, and aims were now kind of changed due to this, but it really hasn't. I think we're safe. I think we kind of created a document to, if anything, to solidify that aims, vision, and mission more, and help people understand that is what they're coming into. What we're working on now is kind of what we're working on here. He asked us to create a newbie, like package or workshop or document to help people that are new understand the culture and the steps that have to be gone through in order to be part of Basecamp. So that's what we're working on now. So it's beautiful that, because I have a meeting Friday about that we're working on this right now to take these ideas back and say, okay, so we want to all be aligned. We want to create a document that's all aligned with what we already have envisioned. So this is perfect. I hope I answered your question and I didn't get
Yes.
wordy.
Yeah.
I think so.
So that.
Oh, go ahead, Ben.
The only other thing I was going to say was that I think it would be important to define vegan, the word vegan. I think that's the only word that we would need, we would struggle with, because there's so many interpretations to people of what that means, whether that means just food, whether that means whole lifestyle, that kind of thing.
is it whole food? I know whole food is ideal, but where's the line?
Right.
I think especially for the document we created about the culture and etiquette and the policies, veganism is considered part of the foundation of the 7 core shifts. But Climate Healers and Vegan World 2026 is about the 7 core shifts, veganism being paramount to everything. But it's part, and I define myself, especially in the work I do as a climate healer, I say I am a supporter of the greatest transformation in human history, of veganism being one of the most vital ways to do that. But I am promoting the greatest transformation in human history. And to me, that's what Climate Healers is about, and Vegan World 2026. So it's, very strong that we explain why veganism and show it. But to me, I think we need to emphasize, and this is a human transformation, and we are calling on your hearts. We're talking to your higher selves, and these are 7 core shifts that we all need to address instead of just the veganism thing, because and I think that was excellent for the conversation we had this morning, because it's like a trigger for people. It's just like they hear that and they think agenda right away. Whereas if we say, well, I'm talking more about human transformation, veganism being part of it, now they want to hear about, well, what's the other stuff?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see as you start talking that they're all actually intertwined, and you can't have one without the other. But it opens the conversation without people feeling judged, which they do as soon as you present as vegan. People feel judged just because you're there. And then again, then we have the conversation, well, what do you mean about vegan? And then you mean a whole food plant-based? I think the 7 core shifts addresses that, because we talk about disease as well. And processed food and all the plastics do not help with what's going on with the planet and the destruction of the earth also. So I think talking about the 7 core shifts addresses all of it.
So so Jackie, that was a longer explanation. It was a good explanation, but that vegan lifestyle, not vegan diet, is what we're talking about. Number one. And number two, this is, I see, I don't know that everyone does, the 7 core shifts also as vision statements, right? So yes, whole food, plant-based, people living really healthy lives is a vision. Do I believe that every person on earth is going to give up French fries and Oreo cookies in the near future? No, I do not. Do I think that, you know, maybe on occasion it's okay to do some of that stuff? Yeah, probably. So there's these, yes, the whole food, plant-based lifestyle where there is no caffeine, there is no alcohol, there is, right? That's the vision. Do I even think I'm gonna get there in the short term? Totally, maybe not. But that is the vision, right? I'm gonna move in that direction, and we're going to talk about that. So, so I think Jackie, that you are absolutely right, that the definition of vegan is actually held within the 7 core shifts, not within the word vegan. That is fascinating to me to think about that. That you have to look at all the shifts, not just the one. That is fascinating.
And, you know, to jump on that, there was a gentleman this morning that is all for 3 of the shifts, veganism not being one of them.
Right. Right.
So this is why I think it's
so
an interesting
interrelated.
conversation. Yes, which is what opens the dialogue.
Right.
How you can pick some and not over others, which is you're representing 3 out of the 7 vegan lifestyles and you don't even realize it.
Right. Right. That's fascinating. Shankar, you were about to say something.
Yes, actually, only 2 points. Everything I'm agreeing with vision, mission, and the aims. Just 1 point. Before that, I want to also tell to Sarah, like it's a side conversation. There is a group in the base camp called recruitment, and it's called base camp promotion and recruiting. I think Ray and myself are there, and Sailesh is there. So some of the thoughts have been discussed there, how to make it familiar with the individuals who are coming on board and who will be interested in all those things. So Sarah, you can bring their ideas and contribute, and we can make it as a big plan or a study group or an action item. However, we want to take it. Yeah, it's pretty much low activity right now, but we are gathering. Like one of my intention is to bring the vegan workforce, how to bring all the people trained, bring them whatever they're doing in a non-vegan world, how it is related to the vegan world, how the skills can be transferred. So that its sustaining workforce is created or thriving workforce is created. So that's one. Coming back to this question, I'm seeing vision, mission, the aims, last point. So basically the aims is this is a specific work, the task we do to get there. So the Vegan World 2020 Base Camp project and conference, and Dr. Rao's presentation and talks to public and to private organization, collaboration with other vegan organizations. That's where that word is what I was thinking. Can we go a little bit liberal on that? Like vegan oriented or vegan, that's the only thing I was thinking, like, yeah. So what I mean to say is like the projects and conferences takes care of it. Obviously people who are not vegan are going to still come there. Like, but what I'm trying to insist or stress is maybe global collaboration with the vegan oriented organizations or individuals, mainly with other vegan oriented individuals and organizations. Like,
Right. So Shankar, this group does not have the authority to write the vision, the mission, or the aims for climate healers. All we did, the aims are actually not written any place that I could find. Okay, the vision and the mission is written. So Benjamin, Suzanne, and I just put some examples of the aims just so that we had some examples. Now, for the VCI aims, we will define those and we can wordsmith them very carefully, but this small group does not have the authority to do the climate healers piece of work. So we're not consenting to this. I just want to make sure that we understand that VCI works under this vision and mission, and that there are implied aims with the work that is going on. Okay? But we are trying to define our group's vision, mission, aims, and we added culture because we think it's important to do. And again, there was not a lot specifically written about that on Climate Healers. Okay.
Yeah, I
So,
agree.
yeah. Okay. So it's, I mean, you might be invited. We might go back to Silas and say, you know, hey, I want to be on a committee that works on that, but that's not what we are doing. I just want to make sure that we know that our vision has to fold into that vision. Our mission has to fold in to that mission. Does that make sense?
Yes, then now actually you reminded me of one more thing. So there was one point, like we reached out to Sailesh, like this is in the new economy group, like what is the overall vision, mission and aims and culture. So Sailesh actually gave one point. So what did he say for the culture? No, okay. He said our aim is to create vegan world by 2026 with at least 51% of the population in the US, Australia, Canada, and New Zealand, Germany, UK, self-identifying as a vegan by end of 2026. So I can share it. It actually, because me and Ray,
right, that came after the stuff that we shared was on the website, but then you guys had that conversation, and I don't think that's on the website, although I didn't look today.
Okay. I'll still share because we were like,
yep.
You define this if we are asking somebody to fill the survey. We tried, but we couldn't come up with the definition. Then we asked Sailesh himself, and he gave this. So I can share it to you if this is going to be refinement. We can discuss, but else I'm fine. I mean, I'm okay moving forward. Like moving forward, I'm totally fine. But I'll give that so that when the refinement comes, you're like same thought came in two different things. Probably you can combine or just say follow this. Okay, I'm fine. Yeah, thank you.
I just wanted to make sure that whatever is published on the website is what we were using, so that we weren't changing it. But like I said, I did not go back today to see what's on. It was under the about on the home page. You know, it's at the bottom of the of the website. It says about, and then you go in and it says the vision and the mission. But I didn't go back and look at it today. So
it doesn't have a culture. It doesn't have the aim and culture. But we were coming from that sociocracy perspective.
Right.
So that's fine. Totally. I'll send it probably separately so that it's an item to review.
Okay.
Later.
All right. Cool. All right. So if there isn't any more discussion, we were going to take a break for 5 minutes. Do people want to take a break for 5 minutes? Yes. Okay. All right. Then I'm going to put my my timer on, and let's take a break for 5 minutes. And when we come back, then we're going to talk about the vision, mission, aims, and culture statement for VCI, and hopefully get to the point of actually having a consent vote on that yet tonight.
Hey, Anne, I'm going to go on my iPad during the break and go on to the Zoom. And so can you let me into the meeting after the break?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thanks. Because I'll be on a different device, so I won't have to be on my phone. Thank you.
Right. Cool. Cool.
Yeah, I'll pause the recording too.
And pause the recording. Right. Question is about developing our own good enough for now and safe enough to try vision, mission, aims, and culture statements. And Suzanne was good enough to put this together based on lots of discussion that we have had over time. And so I'd like to actually read this so that we have the exact language in front of us, and then have some discussion about it if this works for us. And at the end of that discussion, then we will have a proposal and a consent vote. So the vision, what we're striving toward is that VCI, this little group within Vegan World 2026, within Climate Healers, will facilitate the vision of Vegan World 2026 project, which is defined as the 50% of the industrialized world self-identifying as vegan. And Shankar, what I'm thinking is that we would add your specific language with those countries listed. We would actually insert that here in a way that supports, so facilitate the vision of Vegan World 2026 project in a way that supports a growing, life-enriching global culture of normal nonviolence. So our vision is to facilitate that. Our mission, how we get there, is that the VCI, we, the people and the group, support the work of all of the people and all the other circles by acting as the general circle within Vegan World 2026. So VCI would be the hub where every other circle comes and touches that hub. And they touch that hub. We have to figure out exactly how. That would be one of the aims, right? But the mission is that all of the other groups touch that circle, and that it's the place where we get to figure out where is their overlap, where are their gaps, how do we ensure that people have the resources that they need, the tools that they need to be able to do the work that they want to do. So that's the mission. Then the aims, and aims can change. Aims will change a lot. So while we would hold the vision and the mission for 6 months, the aims certainly can be added to and changed pretty much at any time. This is not something that is written in stone, because sometimes we'll complete one and it would go off, right? We might want to add one, or we might need to change an aim because we got part of it done, but something else came up. So the aims, the specific work, the tasks that we do to achieve our mission and vision, the ones that we have identified so far, and let's see, Shankar, if there is a place, well, everyone, if there's a place for the work that you did fits into one of these, or whether we need to add another one. So the aims that we have identified thus far is to gather and disseminate monthly status updates from each of the Vegan World 2026 study groups and task forces, to gather and make available information on methodologies that will support the work of those study groups and task forces. In other words, creating a VCI tool library, to identify and provide live or video tutorials on a wide range of subjects that will support the work of each of those study groups and task forces, to keep a master calendar of meetings, tutorials, and webinars that can be shared within and outside Basecamp. And that is actually already being done, but we would continue to work on that and to make it better and better. To model the ideals of institutional transparency, personal privacy, and open discussion while respecting time constraints and having a willingness to get work done. To bring the Vegan World 2026 message to other collective intelligence groups outside of Climate Healers, to provide an onboarding process to acclimate new people coming into Vegan World 2026 Basecamp, and to bring the Vegan World 2026 to people speaking other languages, with the first such group being Spanish. So those are the aims that we have identified at this moment. And it looks to me like right now we want to add one that says something about, I don't know if it's approving or accepting proposals from any of the task forces, study groups or task forces. And it seems to me like we actually want to add that at this moment. Now, again, next month, if another aim came up that we said we need to do, we can add that. We don't have to wait for some specific time. And I don't think we have to have an exhaustive list tonight, but we know that is something that we want to add. So I would suggest that we add something. And I don't know, Shankar, if you want to come up with the language for that, or if we kind of put a placeholder in and work on that language. And then the culture, how we treat each other while doing this work, is that we want to use sociocracy as our governance model, striving to bring transparency, inclusiveness, and radical equality to our work as much as is practical, and that we will start small. With us, with consent decision-making, we're actually using a sociocracy agenda format. And well, tonight we didn't really use rounds, but we're a small group and everyone did get the opportunity. We didn't speak of it as rounds, but we have been using rounds. And then to add other things, new practices and cultural policies over time as we move forward with the above aims. And certainly, like Jackie, we would be looking at, you know, what you and Jessica are working on and bringing that into this piece of the work. So those are the things that, those are the statements that we have made thus far that we are proposing that we consent to tonight. Is there a discussion on these, further discussion on these statements? And do we want to do a round? Do we want to just go through and do a rounds? Shankar, let's start with you.
Yeah, I agree. I have a concept, but I just have a lighter note. I like sociocracy, but most of the time I see it is evolving into attendance-ocracy. I want everybody's opinion, but only people who attend, they post. So it's just a lighter note. I'm good. Consent, yes.
All right, excellent. Okay, Jackie?
I agree. I think for how you prefaced it with like, what was it, the good enough for now? Yeah,
Good enough for now and safe enough to try.
yeah, absolutely. I think it's comprehensive for everything that you've been working on for the past few weeks. I think it's beautiful to start.
All right. Benjamin and Suzanne?
My only comment is, do we want to add something about the process proposal right now?
Yes, I think we do, whether we type it out or whether we kind of put a placeholder in. But yes, I think it needs to be one of the aims that we are agreeing to. Again, I'm just not perfectly clear the wording of the aim.
Because I still imagine that it's not only a VCI task, that anyone can come to that particular VCI meeting when we're discussing a proposal, right? It's not like it's a closed meeting where we're discussing it, that it's still, it's that we would just provide the forum basically to discuss. Is that?
So that's a really interesting point. I certainly think that anyone who's involved with the proposal, we would want them to come to the meeting, right? Because we would need them to be telling us more about the proposal. So Shankar wrote this proposal, and perhaps he's the only one that comes from the New Economy Work Group, but maybe everyone from the New Economy Work Group wants to come, or maybe 3 people from the New Economy Work Group wants to come. Now, we wouldn't demand that. We would say, you know, you guys figure out who you want, you know, we're inviting all of you. You decide who comes. In terms of accepting that, I think it would be the VCI membership that said, yes, we're accepting that proposal. I think, so I think that's the way that would work, because obviously the group that submitted the proposal would vote in favor of the proposal.
Right.
So I think it needs to be the VCI membership, and there should be at least one person from that group on VCI, right? At least one,
yeah.
Preferably 2. And, you know, perhaps more. I mean, it could be that there would be several people from that group on VCI. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, and I can also imagine, like for this particular example, maybe normalizing vegan food task force would want to come to hear, you know, Shankar's proposal being discussed, or, you know, that it would be
sure
across groups. like that maybe we could like advertise when a new proposal is going to be discussed, that kind of thing.
So you're actually putting together, and this we'll have to put a little bit more work on it, but maybe we have the proposal gets submitted, and the week after the proposal is submitted, there's a discussion with that group and anyone else from the entirety of Vegan World 2026 that wants to have a discussion about it, and then it actually gets voted on the next week. So it's it's a 2-week process.
Or,
So,
I mean, it could even be voted on immediately, but just to, you know, I can imagine Shankar's proposal becoming stronger with more people looking at it. And, you know,
Right.
maybe we could find someone, you know, it's an outreach proposal, so that, you know, the more people involved, the better. So,
Right.
yeah. But sorry, I kind of sidetracked us. I consent, and with you know, I want to work on the language for this particular aim too. What does that look like?
Right. We need to make sure that this particular aim, because it's one of the core responsibilities of this group.
Yeah.
Is receiving and accepting or declining. I mean, there may be proposals that get declined, right? That don't actually fit with the vision mission. So reviewing and voting on proposals that absolutely needs to be included at this point in time. Again, there may be many other things that we want to add and some things that we want to delete, but that one is definitely one of them. Sarah, do you want to add anything to this discussion? No, you don't. Is that a real dog or just your picture? It's just a picture. The dog's not moving.
A real beagle, but he's not in the, that's a picture of him a few weeks ago.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay. So do we want to work on the language for that aim right now before we actually do a vote?
I was gonna try to write something just super quick in the chat box, just to
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
get it up there.
Yes. And again, the aims can be changed without a whole lot of work. So this is not in stone for the next 5 years. This is for right now.
Yeah. To provide. Something like
Draft for proposal aim. Okay, to provide a proposal review process for starting new task forces and study groups. Beautiful. I think that works for this moment in time, so that we get that added, and we will actually do notes, put that back in, and use that. All right, any other discussion before we move? I'm gonna pull this back up. Okay, so what we are going to consent to, and I actually want to put down people's names who consent with concerns, or object. And the statement is, we adopt the VCI vision, mission, aims, and culture as detailed above, and will revisit this decision during the Climate Healers Conference in October 2020, which allows us to keep it the same or allows us to change it, but within 6 months. So I just want to go around the room and ask people to consent with concern, or object. So Suzanne and Benjamin?
consent.
Consent.
Shankar?
Consent.
Okay, Sarah?
Consent.
Jackie?
Consent.
And I consent. So I am going to put all of our names into the consent there, and there will be 0 names with consent, with concern, or object. Yay! Oh my God, do we need Jamin to do his Macarena? I can't do it. I'm not nearly that, good, but it would be really cool if we had someone who could do something. Any singers, any dancers, it could be a different, if you've got a favorite. Come on, Shankar. I know you got it in you. I can tell. Unmute yourself.
I don't know. I just laugh.
Laughing is good. Laughing is good at this particular moment in time. I'm so excited. We have,
Yes.
it may be temporary, but we have a vision, mission, aims, and culture statement for this group. And now we can get on to the real work.
Yes.
On to the real work. I am so excited. All right. So our next order of business is the agenda for next week's meeting. And in some respects, I think that it's pretty obvious. One is that we're going to review the proposal that Shankar has. That would be the first item. And then well, actually, what do other people think? I should not share what I think right now. What do other people think about the agenda for next week? What else should we do besides reviewing that proposal?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So I was going to say what Jackie was bringing up earlier about, we can either revisit that now a little bit or add it to the agenda for next week or yeah. With Jamin's block party and,
I need a little bit more detail to understand what the actual agenda item would be.
I think it would be how do we help promote those spaces as places where conversations can start to happen about the 7 core shifts with pre-vegans. So, which, I forget what number of AIM that is, but, connecting us to other collective intelligences.
Especially the ones that are pre-vegan. Like, I hate the word keeps coming, infiltrate, and that's not a pleasant word, so I don't want to use that word, but I think we all understand what I'm saying. It's like, how do we make our presence known in these organizations that are doing this work, that are fighting the cause, but we feel missing a crucial component? And then how do we bring that message in and help invite them into hearing this message? So how do we make our presence there, and then how do we invite them into our community as well? So to form allyship, basically.
Yeah.
Shankar?
Yeah, how actually that's the point I was actually discussing. Then the study group or the task force, like, they should go and find the similar pair or that nexus. So for example, it's as simple as like, that is what I want to tell you, is like somebody in Louisiana, they have their government division has like a program which supports the local economy and buying some low carbon based food products. That's all. It's that vague, okay? It's not that clear. You can say, hey, that's one of the mission or the proposal that we came up with. Why don't we work with them and do this thing like, so I'm thinking both locally or globally or something in South Africa or something. So we will definitely find that like minds connecting. So we can do that. And so at least we want to see something happen at this point, happen beyond the climate healers or vegan world as an entity, so that we can come back and say, the events are the best example that we do. Like, people from different organizations come and present, or climate healers folks invited there and they're presenting. That's a simple example, but more of very task-oriented activities, like a long-term programs or something. We can, because among ourselves, we are interacting, but at some point we're going off tangent and really going off tangent to the world, and that exchange is happening. So similar programs, I can say, like, can imagine.
Yeah, finding where those complementary edges are and where do we start those conversations. Yeah.
So this is leading me. So Sarah also talks about, you know, having a call to action and actually, you know, doing something. So what I'm kind of thinking is we need to have a general conversation next week about each of the aims and what they look like in action, what people on this group would be doing, who else we would need to call in, and whether or not we have a broad enough and specific enough list of the aims. And as a part of that, we would review Shankar's proposal to do a real piece of work, but that we also just have conversation then about all of the other aims that we've listed to get this better idea about exactly how we're going to go about doing that.
Yeah.
And I think all of these things fit into each one of those. And if something doesn't, if at the end of that conversation, you're like, well, wait a minute, my thing was this, and it never did get talked about tonight, then we need to add an aim. You know, if the thing didn't fit someplace, then we need to add an aim that it will fit, or we need to say it belongs in another group. Maybe that thing doesn't belong in VCI for some reason. I mean, that could happen. Yeah, Shankar, you got to take yourself off mute.
Oh yeah, that's actually, you brought a good point. I'm just telling this totally from a human perspective. Like, somebody could be very introvert, somebody could be extrovert, or the way they operate and communicate. Every idea is very powerful, but the medium and the channel they choose will be different. So like, I'm putting myself in one shoe, okay? Like, for example, if I'm not team oriented, but if I can do it very much by myself, because I know the integration part, how it can integrate. Then probably what I would really celebrate is like, hey, I don't want any people, just let me do it. And so recognizing that as a project, or recognizing that as a proposal project or something. So I'm going and I'm coming and giving an outcome out of it. Hey, this is what I want to do. Present it. Could you please approve? Approved. Okay, go ahead. And this is what I did. Oh, the outcome came. The outcome didn't come. Okay, that's in a more of a follow-up. The other would be like it's like pulling a big truck. So they're like, hey, who's here? Okay, you drive. Okay, I'll pack. I'll load. So it's in a more, the sum will be a team player thing. Yeah. That fashion would be more of so we can actually accommodate. Some are could be just a 1 hour project. Some are just like a 1 day project. Some are like it's gonna happen with 2 years or something like that. So we can actually recognize that each as a project, or each as the project evolving out of proposal. Then based on the dynamics, we can give that independence. So because I don't know how somebody would get along or how they will do, but they'll be so happy something they accomplished coming to Climate Healers. So so they're still themselves. At the same time, so you see that the individuality is protected, and because some people they just want to do, and they want to do something today. Like they're like, I came here only for activism. All right, what is your proposal? I'm going to that slaughterhouse and I'm gonna go do this thing. Okay, all right, that's your project. Go ahead and do it. So they might feel more accomplished,
Right. All right. All right. Are there any other things that we want to talk about for the agenda? I mean, I think that's a pretty full agenda, honestly. And we'll do our best to get through all of the aims, and whether, you know, I'll try and figure out the math in terms of how long we can spend on each one, and then sort of try to stick to that, because obviously some will take more time than others. But I think that's a pretty full agenda for next week. All right. Are there any pre-actions that we need to take? Well, I guess a pre-action that would be helpful is if each of us could look at the aims that we have set, and we'll try and get the agenda out not the agenda. Well, yeah, the agenda out really early, like tomorrow or Thursday, so that you can see, you know, each of the aims that we're going to be discussing. And then if each person could, you know, look them over and either choose one that you want to kind of facilitate the conversation around that, or that you think about. And I think there's few enough of us that, I mean, if you want to let us know which one you're really interested in, that would be great. We could just put it in the comments underneath. Maybe that's what we should do, is take a look at the agenda. It will be out by Thursday. We will get the agenda out by Thursday. Take a look at each of those things and think about which one you kind of want to lead, facilitate, add content to, and just put down there, just so that we're each thinking about at least one or two of those in a little bit more detail than we may have thought about it for a while. Like, I can tell you right now that the tool library is something that I am particularly interested in. I just am. I can look at my bookshelf and say, oh, we could add that and we can add that and we need, and right. So like, I know that I'm going to pull some things together and talk about how that might happen. Somebody else might have an affinity for, you know, obviously Shankar, you're going to have an affinity for the proposal review process. And so if each of us could just, you know, pick one or two things that we're going to add a little bit more to, and just put your name and that aim underneath the agenda so that we know people are thinking about it. That would be really cool. All right, is there anything else we need to do before we, oh, yes, there is. So Suzanne, can you screen share your graphic just for a moment? I just want everyone to see, because I think it's A, very cool, and B, I think it helps us to visualize what we're doing.
The bottom of the agenda.
So do you want to talk about this for just a moment, Suzanne, about how it, whoops, where'd it go?
I was trying to open it bigger, but now my internet is struggling. Here. Well, I don't know. I was having visions of, you know, circles fitting in other circles, and you know, having that complementary edge, and trying to envision how do we all collaborate together? How do we all fit together? How do we all have our own individual space? Like, you know, Shankar was talking about, some people are gonna, you know, be on their individual project and want to go right now, and I think there would even be smaller circles in here, you know, for individual things. And this is a draft. This is a work in progress. So let me know if you have any updates you want to see in it. And I know that there's also just organizational changes with Seeds to Inspire coming in here. And so this is just for visualization, I guess.
Yeah, and the idea of the hub, right? That BCI is the hub, and so the I don't know. I really liked seeing this, and kind of the way that the circles touch each other, and that we're all gathered around this shared vision. And yet we've also done a little bit more in terms of visualizing what BCI is going to be.
It's very good, very interesting. I'm wondering how it was made. Like, like, is it a digital art, or is it like a paper art or something?
Yeah, digital. Yeah, I have a little drawing pad.
Good, thank you, amazing.
Yeah, she's really good with this stuff, really good. Wait until you see some other things, which I have not seen yet either. I just know there are some things coming from Suzanne that we are going to be really, really excited about. Okay, so we've got our agenda, we've got our pre-actions that we need to take before next week's meeting. And so now it is time to do a thank you and a checkout. And our
Oh,
checkout,
one thing, with with my ask about sharing the advertisement, do you guys want to see it first, or do you just want me to send it to you? Like, cause it's really short. Like, I don't want to put anyone on the spot. Like,
no, I think, so do we want it to go into the VCI message board or chat, or do you want to email it to us or ping it to us since we're a small group?
yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like, I was going to show you it now and then decide if you guys were interested in, or just send it to you and
How about
decide.
do you want to pull it up right now if you have it?
Okay. Share. Right, share. Let's see.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Oh, that's okay. I'm just not tech savvy, so it's okay. I'll figure it out. Here it is. Can you hear it?
No.
That's weird.
Identity for the right to speak.
Can you hear it
for the right
now?
to think, for the
Yeah.
right to-
Okay, let me start it again.
But the sound's off again.
Yeah.
I personally have been literally fighting my whole life. I don't remember not fighting for something, for identity, for the right to speak, for the right to think, for the right to be, the right to eat. Everything I've been fighting since before I can remember. When we're raised in that kind of culture and society, so many of us make so many conscious choices along the journey, you know, to survive. Because we don't know any better, because we've been taught, because we've purposely not been taught to be the people that we are. Like just what people think of as a childhood, to even reflect on and go back and get in touch with. So going within, for some of us, is scarier sometimes than what's on the outside. So we seek so many distractions because it's just easier, because those incessant thoughts just race. And if I can barely, when I think I'm conscious, deal with them, now you're asking me to just shut everything down, all distractions, and just go within and face all of those. That takes so much, and I think that's for community and having a guide to support. And I think that's all of our jobs as community, is to go back and help, because we will not ascend and we will not evolve if we don't balance and take that journey from within. We don't know how to not have judgment for ourselves. And so some of us just feel like we can't do it. And I think that's why it's so important that we have community like this to come together, so that we can support one another in that non-judgment, so we can support one another in that reflection. Hey, there's nothing in you that's not in me. The divinity that you see in me is merely the divinity that you see reflected from within you. We are all, and we are all the same.
Jackie, you are so amazing.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that's
Joining
cool.
me first, though, Dr. Zeke Emanuel, Vice Provost
sorry,
of
hold
Global
on a second.
Initiatives at the
That was wonderful.
All right, cool.
Oh, you're
Very
on
cool.
mute.
Thank you. I didn't make that video. That was Stephanie from the Collective Intelligence.
Cool.
She was at the Divine Feminine segment and heard me say something and just got inspired. And she did that. That's all her work. She gets all the credit. She did an amazing, amazing job. And it was about, how do we invite people to the collective intelligence? And then this morning when I thought of it, and I was sharing it all week, last week, and then I was like, oh, the meeting we had this morning, talking about the 7 core shifts, talking about like this is, they need to see us as allies, not just us seeking them. They need to see that we're not judging, that we are meeting you where you are. If you meet us where we are, as long as we have one mission of saving Mother Earth, and maybe we can influence and support one another as we each grow. Because I'm sure there's a lot I can learn from you, but let's all be humble and see what you can learn from me as well. And I think that's kind of the message we want to kind of share out there.
Right. Right.
Okay. So how do I? I'm sorry, I'm so ignorant. How do I share it? Like, it's on my YouTube channel. So how do I share it so that you guys can share it?
If you go on the website, I think if you're looking at the video, you know, not full screen, just below the video, there should be a button that says share or something, and it'll give you a link to copy. And then I think you could take that, or if you just
copy the whole URL.
Yeah, you could
too.
take everything from the URL at the top of the screen and send that to us.
Okay. So
And also to Vegan World 2026, to the general, right? So that everyone in Basecamp would have it.
Yeah, yeah.
So put it in Basecamp, like in the general Vegan World 2026.
Mm-hmm. Why not?
Like in
The campfire?
I was gonna say in a campfire, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You just ask.
I mean, you can send it to us individually also, but I think everyone having access to it would be a good thing.
Yeah. See, I wasn't sure how to invite the community because it's technically veganism is part of it, but it's not like completely veganism. So that's why I'm trying to be the way Alan Savory and Sailesh stirred the community up. Like the last thing I want is to like, stir people. I just want to say like, if we can help one another. So I wasn't sure how to do this. So thank you. So I will share it with you guys, and then I'll go ahead and I'll share it in the Basecamp and just ask people to just share it, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think if you write a little bit like what you were saying here about how we can find common ground and help each other, in these new places.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, as an introduction to it, kind of.
All right, awesome. Thank you. See, collective intelligence. Thank you.
All right, cool. All right, let's go ahead and do our checkout. It is, exactly 2 hours right now. So we came very close to meeting our time commitment tonight. Who would like to start with the checkout word or phrase about what you're leaving this meeting with tonight?
I'm feeling a lot of love and gratitude.
Thank you.
I'm feeling those two things as well.
Right. Shankar?
It's like it's a nature's time. Stay indoor. Go within yourself.
Jackie?
Inspired and motivated.
Cool. And I am feeling great relief. I'm sure it shouldn't, but I have had this weight on my shoulders about getting through this process, making it through, right? And I feel like it's good enough for now. It's not great, it's not long-term, but it's good enough for now. And it's safe enough to try. And I am extremely grateful to all of you to continue coming and figuring this stuff out. So we will see you online in between, and then we will see you next Tuesday, same time, same channel.
Awesome.
Good.
All right.
Well,
Good night, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, stay sane.
night.
Bye.